Hi, Poppy Yeager here with This Day in History. May 8th, 1852. Louisa May Alcott published her first story. Her first short story was titled The Rival Painters, A Story of Rome, which was published in the Boston Olive Branch. Louisa May Alcott is most known for her book, Little Women. However, before she wrote the novel, she was writing short stories. Her very first story, she earned $5, which in 1852 for a woman was pretty good. She wrote short stories, she wrote fiction, she wrote nonfiction, she wrote poetry. In fact, it's just recent that more of her works have been discovered because her early works were published under pseudonyms. She did not publish under her own name. So scholars don't really know exactly the extent of what she wrote. They're still learning. Louisa May Alcott was a nurse during the Civil War for the Union, and she worked until typhoid fever made her too sick to continue. Her father, when she was growing up, her father was friends with Emerson and Thoreau, and that was highly influential for her as well. When she was working as a nurse, she was able to write hospital sketches, and it was nonfiction work, essays about her time working as a nurse. And that work established her as a serious literary author. After that, a publisher approached her and said, I would love to have a novel written for girls. Would you do that? At first, she didn't want to. She was hesitant, but she said, all right, you know what, I'm going to do it. That work became Little Women. It is still read today. A movie was made relatively recently. She also wrote other books such as Jo's Boys, which weren't as popular as the first Little Women, but again, they're still read. You can still find those books in the bookstore, in libraries. I read Little Women when I was a kid. My mother had got it for me and said, I think you might like this. And I don't think I really appreciated it because I never really, as a kid, could connect with this idea of girls. But when I reread it when I was older, I was able to appreciate it more. When my son was very little, he was like 9 months old, we took him to visit family in Massachusetts, which is where Louisa May Alcott lived most of her life. She was born in Pennsylvania, but lived most of her life in Concord, Massachusetts. While we were there, I wanted to go to Louisa May Alcott's house. I like that. I like going to authors' houses. My son was a baby, though, so we paid for the tickets, and they were really nice. And they said, if your son starts acting out, you can just take him out, and whoever goes out with him will give you your money back. Sure enough, my son, he was only 9 months old, was not really up for sitting through a tour, and he got a little cranky, and my spouse took him out. But one of our favorite pictures of him when he was little, he's sitting on the bench outside in back of Louisa May Alcott's house. Maybe someday, if he's up for it, I'll take him back. Anyway, that's This Day in History. May 8th, 1852, Louisa May Alcott published her first story.